Set.
I think it's 7:30 now.
7:30 it is?
Yep, fine. Okay then. Well, good evening, everybody. Good evening. And welcome to our second full Zoom. We've got Heather with us, so welcome to Heather. And we've got Andy as well. So
thank you.
That's our parishioner content. We've also got Ian, which is great. So well done, Ian, for coming in. I say we're recommended to do a head count to make sure we got enough, but we've already done that. So we've got all the councillors are expecting, which leads us on to item 21.1, receive apologies and declarations of interest, please. Nicola.
We have apologies from Laura.
And is that for work? Oh, I'm not supposed to say, am I? I'm not supposed to say, am I? No. We've all seen the reason why. Are we happy that these that apology is fair? Can I have a second? Anne's thumbs up, so I'm going to go with Anne as a second. All in favour? Wave your hands. Practice. Yeah, Ian. That's it. Great. Okay. Thank you very much. So that's whatever. And then with that item, we also have declarations of interest. Anybody got any declaration of interest associated with tonight's agenda? I wouldn't have thought so. So thank you very much. Now, item 20. I then go on to the open parishioner session.
We seem to have lost Andy.
We've lost our open parishioner. So if it's all right with you, we'll carry on. Can I come back to that session if Andy rejoins us? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
so
we'll change the order of the agenda. That's fine.
Yeah, we'll move on. So if Andy does rejoin us, we'll have an open session then. I'm a councillor, so I don't need to give him a special invite to join us. Also, while we're on this point, have you given recording rights, or will you be giving recording rights to Andy?
I had given him recording rights before he left, but
okay, so that's fine. So we needn't mention that. That's good. Okay, and so Nicola's also recording us, so which she does for minutes, just to keep you informed. Item 21.2 is minutes of meeting from the 23rd of April. This was our last full council meeting where we were all there, apart from Laura, who's not tonight. So if you're all happy with that, kind of a seconder. I propose I sign them. Have a seconder. Oh, Peter's signing it. Are we all in favour? Raise our hands. Let's see. Yeah, Heather. Oh, you weren't here, so Heather's. Sorry, you were here, but you. I presume you had to abstain. Is that correct, Nicola? Would Heather have to abstain because she became councillor during?
I was at those meetings, wasn't I?
she was present, at the meeting, but she wasn't a councillor.
Yeah. She hadn't signed all the forms at that point. Okay, fine. Thank you much. And then also in that item we have the minutes of meeting for the planning meeting, which was to do with the proposed 18 houses at the end of Church End. All 6 of the planning members were there. So can I have a seconder yeah, Kieran's taking the words out of my mouth. Are we all in favour of those? Yeah, fine. Thank you much. That's great. Good. Okay, moving on. We now have the clerk's report. Thank you.
Hang on, the clerk's just noting down the votes.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Where are we? I thought I'd just give you an update on how we've been progressing the volunteer coordination. So I've been having regular Zoom meetings with Ian, together with representatives from the Church, Town Trust, WI and the community website to organise this support. So we sent out the original leaflet, which was actually based on a draft from Peter, and we had a lot of volunteers that responded to that. We have set up a dedicated web page on both the Parish Council website and the community website, and a parishioners also set up stivetesandvillages.co.uk, which showcases local support and local businesses that are offering help. So far the requests for help have come to me, and then I put them in touch with a volunteer, and then they go away and liaise together. We've done a second leaflet drop to the village, which I'm sure you've all seen, that had more information on it. And then we've also set up the local area volunteer scheme. So most of you should have had your leaflets through now for this scheme. So this sets up a volunteer that's going to champion an area. So each volunteer has up to 17 properties. They go around and look for any signs of a problem, such as milk on the doorstep, pillowcases in the letterbox, and they've also given their contact details out to their area. So if any of those houses need help, they can contact their local volunteer. They can still contact me if they prefer. So far, the feedback received has been very positive. I've had lots of lovely comments from people, which is very helpful. And so far, the cost has only been the paper and ink for printing the leaflets. So Heather and I had a Zoom meeting last week so that I could witness her signing her declaration of acceptance. So we've done all of that. Heather's done all the necessary paperwork, and all of the register of interest and forms have been sent through to the monitoring officer at HDC. I've set up the Zoom account now, so there is no relevant time limit I've put here, because there is a time limit of 24 hours, but hopefully we won't reach that. The insurance, I've requested quotes. So far I've only got one back, so that will be on the agenda for the next meeting with all the available quotes. We received an update from Cambridgeshire County Council regarding the non-motorised users route, to say that Highways England are looking to allocate funding to take the project onto the detailed design phase, and hopefully that will be in this financial year. We've received notification also from CCC to say that a lot of the county officers have been redeployed to deal with the COVID-19 response. So some issues are taking a lot longer to be dealt with because, you know, it's not being prioritised. The NALC, National Association of Local Councils pay review, which will be relevant to me, has been delayed. So normally that comes out on the 1st of April. But it's still under discussion with the unions. So I'll let you know as soon as we receive that. And on a very sad note, Sis Gibson died last week. She was a true Hiltonian and died in the house she was born in. That's me done.
Okay, yeah, I was talking to myself as on mute. Just thanking you for that report and certainly the end bit, so thanks for that. Okay, so that's the report. Now, item number 21.4 is the Hilton Traffic Group. Point 1 is to review and adopt the terms of reference, which just missed the March meeting, so it's quite some time since they were done. But they all came out on the document package, supporting docs. So if you're all happy with that, I'll ask for a seconder to propose that we approve those. Hands, put a hand up. Are we all happy that those are the terms of reference? Yeah. Rob, you're not?
Sorry. Yeah, I just can I just ask a question?
Sorry, I was a bit hasty, wasn't I? Sorry. Discuss.
Something you want to watch on the telly? Yeah, it's just this comment communicated towards the bottom of the items. The communications of the HTG group with outside bodies such as CCC, HTC, HE. Can we add a note onto that saying that the clerk will be also copied in on all those communications?
Yeah, I mean I presume we would need approval for that. If we're all happy with that, we could add that as a line.
Sorry.
Well, Kieran.
I see I'm unmuted. Thank you, Nick. Yes, I mean, in a sense, that's a given, because we've also said that the communication will go through Nick. So she needs to know everything that's being communicated, and hence she will be copied on it. So it's kind of a given, it's spelled out.
Okay. Would that be favourable with everybody else?
It does actually state that in the draft. The last bullet point, it says, and in all cases copied to the PC clerk.
Okay, so you're saying that that's an overrider really to everything else.
Well, it's just that that comment is specific to Cambridge County Council. So I just wanted so it's just sort of specifically. I think that comment is saying the HTG communicating with any outside bodies. It just would be nice to have the clerk copied in on all those correspondence, if you don't mind.
Yeah, I'm assuming it'll happen that way.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay. Does anybody else wish to add any sort of comments or concerns? Okay. So Nicola, can we add that as just to put it in black and white?
That's to the penultimate bullet point. Is that correct?
That's right.
Okay.
Okay.
So on that basis, can I have a seconder that those terms references are approved? Anne's got a hand up, so it's fine. I second that. Are we all in favour of the terms reference? All say aye. Yeah, Heather, I can't see your hand. You're part of us now. Great. Okay. Thank you very much. That's great. Okay, so those terms reference. Now, item point 2 was that we received the report from the HGG, Hilton Traffic Group. I don't know whether we normally, because we have Parish, I can't see any point in reading through it because you've all seen it in your supporting docs. So there's at least 2 pages plus the report on the air quality. Sorry?
The air pollution report.
Yeah,
measure.
Indeed. Yeah, they were in the supporting document. So if that report is accepted by Parish Council, anybody wish to discuss? No. Okay, then so I can say Anne seconding, I think.
Yeah,
so,
please.
Yeah, are we all in favour that we adopt that report?
Yeah.
Yeah, Heather, fine, thank you. Yeah.
Sorry, Sharon, I didn't see you. Thank you.
Yeah. Just a technicality there, Nicola. I use the word adopt, but is that too strong a word or just accept?
It would normally be receive.
Receive. Okay, and so with that, on my slip of the tongue, we'll move on from there. Makes it a lot easier when we haven't got any parishioners watching, doesn't it? I hope we haven't got. Anyway.
Recorded, Graham. Come on.
Sorry. Moving on. So item point 3 is the meat of this one, I think. This is the action plan that's come out with the supporting documents written by Anne, I believe. And it's really what the traffic group have been up to at the moment. Might be worth, Anne, if you can just sort of talk us through it and then we can do happy.
Of course, I didn't print that one out, but never mind. Yes, the action plan is really just describing the series of things that we discussed with the County Council and Ian Bates in terms of what actions we need to take in their terms to kind of prove what is different from the 1998 TRO application, which we failed to get. Because they are saying that if you want to be removed from the advisory freight map, then basically you've got to persuade the powers that be, who are they, that the situation has changed sufficiently. So I'm delighted to say that Ken Atwood has found lots of documents from that 1998 application, which tells us exactly what people were objecting to, who was objecting, and has maps, all sorts of lovely detail, which we're delighted with because it will give a base for the County Council to then say, right, things have changed sufficiently. The unfortunate thing, because the County Council folk have been redeployed to help the vulnerable, we're actually not getting very much specific support from them at the moment. But nevertheless, we're just going to carry on taking those actions that we've identified to build up the picture of how different the local area is from 1998, including the traffic levels, the major road networks, the pollution levels, and so on. So a lot of work, but we're getting stuck in. If anybody wants to pitch in, they're very welcome.
Okay.
Is it enough?
It's fine. It is obviously of what we've had in front of us.
Yeah.
Heather, is your hand up or you? Heather?
It is.
Sure.
Yeah.
Fire away.
Yes. I was just wondering whether we'd had a conversation with Cambridgeshire County Council, say how much data information they need before they're prepared to look at the case again.
Well, basically, yes, that's what the meeting was we had in the Methodist Church. At that point, they, like us, were second guessing to some extent who might have data and how much we would have to kind of build from odds and sods of sources. Because Ken has found all these papers, we actually think we're ahead of the game a little bit now, because we've got a clear set of information about what the base case was then, and of course with the A14, whatever we might think of the actual A14 building being built, there's a lot of information in all those papers in terms of what the network looks like now, what the pollution levels are expected to be, etc., etc. So I think between us, and I would like to ratify with the County Council what their views are of the amount of information that Ken's managed to unearth, alongside all the traffic data that Andy's been producing, whether that's going to be sufficient. We feel as a group that we're fairly optimistic, or some of us, we've not all been able to get together, that we're stronger than we thought we would be to make the case.
Okay. Sharon.
Sharon, you're awfully quiet.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Sorry, I think my mum's just having a stroke. I've got to go, and my dad's just rung. So I'm really sorry. I'll have to leave the meeting.
Good luck. Good luck.
Thank you. Bye.
Right. Bye.
Oh my God.
Okay. Okay. Right.
Oh dear.
Anyway, sorry, Nicola?
I said Andy Bush is just joining us again.
Okay.
Hi, Andy.
He's on mute.
Hi,
Okay.
apologies all, technology meltdown.
Okay, I will just say, Andy, we're in the middle of point 3. We are going to have an open session later on because you missed it. So if you have anything to say, just hang on to it until.
I've got nothing to say, Graham. Thanks.
Okay, fair enough. Then we're on closed session 21.4.3, which is the action plan for the HGD LHI bid.
Okay, thanks. I'll go on mute.
Anybody else wish to say anything? No? Okay, I'll just throw a pebble in here.
Okay.
My concern is that I wasn't at the meeting in January when the LHI was put in, and therefore I'm not entirely sure what the intent of the parish councillors who were there. But reading through the minutes, it was all based on getting getting Hilton off the recommended freight road. And I went to one of the meetings, one of the Methodist Church. I came away with the view that there wouldn't be a problem with the traffic volume. The problem would be the alternative route, and therefore it's kind of my understanding of that meeting that the emphasis was going to be on the feasibility study to try and get Cambridgeshire County Council to approve an alternative route. Without an alternative route, we are in trouble. And the other point I would make is that at the moment, without the 14 being closed, my concern is they could bat it back and say, oh yes, but things will change when the 14 is fully open. Give it a year and things will change. So there's a couple of points that concern me. Now, if nobody else is worried, then I shall get back in the box.
I certainly share your concern about the A14 currently being, well, the A14 being and the A1307 being practically empty at the moment. We have no real idea of what the impact of the current level of A14 construction means for Hilton, or indeed the final version. So we're all a little bit in limbo. And actually you're raising for me a question for the County Council, which is about the timescale for the feasibility study. Is it going to remain the same? Or are we actually going to acknowledge the fact that we've missed a number of weeks, months, whatever, in order for us to pull everything together? Going back to your point about the alternative route, because when you look at the data from 1998, various organisations or Godmanchester Council, for example, came up occasions on the theme why either for it wasn't viable for them alternative routes proposed, or it was too much traffic for the likes of God Manchester or whatever. So in other words, they had different reasons for saying why the traffic should or should not go in a particular direction or on a particular route. So that's why we feel we have to gather the data that says, well, this is what the network looked like then, this is what it looks like now, and what it's anticipated to look like in the near future. And therefore, looking at the map, here are the alternative possibilities, but at the same time referencing those against the objective based in 1998. The County Council, I think, were fairly clear that the baseline we have to argue against is what was argued for in the 1998 application for the TRO, and that if we can knock off all the issues and objections that were actually the ones listened to, and demonstrate that there are alternative, then we may well get somewhere with our case.
Okay.
So I think it's and rather than either or, if you see what I mean.
Okay, thank you much. Obviously important issue. Does anyone else wish to have a speak or a question or concerns? No? Okay. So moving forward, God, it's like being at work, isn't it? Sorry. So the next stage, the conclusion of this item, as I understand it, is really to approve the final statement within the within Anne's document, which was to do with the next stage. I'm just going to call it up on my screen.
Okay.
Can you still see me?
Yep.
Good. Okay. Just flicking through. Bear with me. Okay. Right. It's a good way of getting to know what else is coming up as well. There's a lot of more work on the forward, isn't there? Anyway, no. I'm just looking for your statement. Right. Okay. Right. So really, towards the end of the traffic group one, it talks about we also seek agreement. So that's where the PC comes in. That the feasibility study's purpose is, and this is a quote, to gather and analyse sufficient evidence that would persuade the highways inspector that the TRO objections of 1998 unedited and no current objections would result in a refusal to remove the B1040 through the Hilton from the AFR. Now, is that a fair enough statement there, Anne?
I still think that sums up where we are, because that's my understanding of the guidance we got from the County Council, that our means to getting us off that freight route map.
Mm-hmm.
So yes.
Okay. So the proposal is then that we effectively adopt the report, adopt the action plan, and see how we get on. Now, of course, I should have mentioned also that many of the county councillors are now on different jobs. So as Anne hinted and was mentioned in the clerk's report, what the timescale is and who the people behind it are is a bit unknown. But yeah, as long as we have a plan going forward, then we can do no more than that. So can I have a proposer that that's what we do? Are you proposing, Peter, or are you?
Question.
Hi, Peter.
Question. Sorry. Have you unmuted me? I was struggling to get that. Just a quick question, Anne and Graham, on the present situation as opposed to where we go forward. So obviously, as it says in your report, the air is clean. The noise volumes are down and all that sort of thing. So your comment about checking with the County Council that the feasibility study timescale could be extended to allow perhaps, I'm not going to say, I could say the new normal to be in place.
Well, yeah, we do need to know, at least I suspect they need to know. I'm not sure I need to be convinced, but I suspect they do.
But the trouble is, if they come and they say, yeah, great, we're going to come and monitor, and they come and monitor now, it's just going to waste all your hard work, everybody's hard work on it, isn't it? Because they're going to say, what's your problem? There's hardly any vehicles go through Hilton. There's no noise. There's no pollution.
But the good news is that we have from the Highways England in the reports on constructing the A14, the estimates of volumes of traffic and so on. And we have independent data on air pollution and so forth. And the volumes of traffic, 1998 and now, even now, is quite significant. So I
and that's
wouldn't
why
be
they always
ideal.
said they would come back after 12 months of completion of the project to monitor.
Yes.
And so whether or not they will stick to those guns as well is another thing. So you want
Don't know.
ability funding ties in with that.
Yeah. No, I think it's a very good point. And as I say, when I can finally get a response from somebody,
But that's right. There's
that's a question.
so many other more important things going on in the world at the moment.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, are we happy that we effectively adopt the action plan and it continues as it's going? Any other seconder for that one? And seconding it. Are we all in favour? Fine.
All my hands up.
Okay. Right. That's great. Thank you very much. And thanks.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, now moving on to 21.5, this is the Ford. Now, this cropped up back in, just a bit of history for those who may not remember, or for Heather, cropped up in May of last year where we had a meeting with CCC. This is to do with the fact that it appears now that the Ford's always, and it's a good place for algae to grow, and so the surface is perpetually slippery. So the proposal from, a temporary proposal from CCC was to put up a sign, and the sign said alternative route, and we were in discussions about where the sign would go. Since then, the officer in charge left, and obviously with the current situation there was a bit of a delay. In the supporting documents you've had a response from the new guy who said he doesn't really know an awful lot about it, but he give him time to get up to speed. Since then, we've had quite a few reports or comments from parishioners who are deeply concerned about the number of accidents. And really, this is a question of what we can do, bearing in mind that the Ford is not our property. We can't do anything to the Ford. We did, when we had the meeting with CCC, we suggested that we could manually do some work on it, and we were told, no, you can't, because it's going to take us time to come up with a new design. So it really is a question of what we can do as a parish council that doesn't cause problems to CCC or cause ourselves liability problems. Discussion, please. I think Kieran, did you have any hand up, Kieran?
Yeah, just to, I mean, I feel a bit stressed about this, to be honest, because it does feel to me like Cambridge County Council have shirked their responsibilities here somewhat. Giving us a sign, irrespective of where it goes, is not really solving the problem. And the number of people that are coming a cropper on this Ford now, it surely must be seen to be a pretty urgent task for the Cambridge County Council to come and sort the surface out. On the basis that the chap who we were talking to originally, he wanted to put the sign somewhere that we didn't want it to go, and now he's gone and we've got a new guy back. I wonder if you just push ahead and put our own signs up. Either way, on the verges, there are verges, and just put a sign saying cyclists dismount and make it specific for cyclists and have them closer to the Fords. I did look up what the cost of signs were the last time we did any signs. I don't know whether you can remember, we did those no parking signs, which were aluminium printed signs, and they were £28 each. So I wonder whether we should go down that route. Just do something, Hilton Parish Council do something to get some signage up there in the right place, and then secondly, lean on Cambridge County Council harder to try and get them to sort it out. Okay.
Just a point here, and I've got you in my mind for next speaker. I don't know about you, but I just had a note to say that the internet connection is not very stable, and I've noticed quite a few of you are breaking up through the speech. Do we have any protocol, what happens if we do all fall out? Nicola?
I minute it and then we just rejoin the meeting. If you fall out the meeting, then rejoin it and I'll just minute your absence for the time that you're absent. If I fall out the meeting, you've got to wait for me to come back.
Okay, fair enough. And far away.
So yes, I'm on mute. Okay, two comments really. One, I thoroughly agree with Kieran about let's just do it. Let's get some signs, put them up. It's crazy that people are having accidents. Everybody agrees there needs to be signage there to route people somewhere else. My second thought is, given that the county council is one, strapped for cash, two, really doing other things, and three, I don't know when, if they'll ever have a budget or the time to get round to fixing much in the way of roads. So I would suggest that we also offer the county council to try to fix it ourselves, however temporary. Ian, I think I remember you came up with some clever ideas on how we might do that. So why don't we they may snap our hands off in terms of the current situation, getting stuff done that they simply can't do themselves.
Okay. Peter, you're waving your hand.
Yeah, just a caveat on that. You need to check what our liability would be, because we're not responsible for roads, but the county council is responsible for roads. And if we take on a county council job, do we then become suable, so to speak, if something goes wrong with the work that we do on that piece of road?
Yeah, okay. That's why I'm saying we'd need their permission in a sense. We'd need their okay.
I think we've got a general agreement that we can do some signs. Maybe perhaps think about how the signs are going and how they're going to get put up and where they're going to get put up.
I've just, if I can just jump in there, I'm very happy to do the artwork to get the signs done and to install them on the basis that we're going to put a metal stake in the ground and fix them to them. Okay. So in terms of having them done, I'm happy to take them on.
Okay, Heather? Okay, Heather, yeah, far away.
Yeah, I'm totally in agreement with Kieran. Can we add the word danger to it rather than just cyclists dismount? And can we put something in Spectrum on the website and Facebook just to say this is a really dangerous area? Local residents have reported cyclists falling off, and just say we're responding to this by a sign warn cyclists to dismount.
Mm-hmm. I'm kind of also anxious that we need to pass it back to CCC. So whatever we do, I presume that all these reports we get from parishioners we also pass on to CCC, or we can pass on, because we now have a new contact, don't we?
Yeah.
And I say short of, I don't think we need to be careful about taking on extra liability, and we can't really start grinding up the road as Ian was suggesting. We have already been told, but maybe we should be a bit more upbeat and say, could they let us know? Because they did say they were going to redesign it or look at redesigning it, and those that were at the meeting would confirm that they did say they were going to redesign it, but it would take them a year. So presumably it must be almost up that year. Anne?
Well, my point is that given where we all are, whatever time scale they put on it then ain't going to apply anymore. And the spirit in which I'm suggesting we say to them, why not let us do X, whatever X is, prove it, as an interim measure, because that helps them out because they know they're responsible, and it helps the cyclists in terms of getting through that ford safely. So that's the spirit of my thinking, is it's because of where we are that we're willing to do this with your permission, and we need to define what this is in order to just make it safer for people to get through.
Okay. Does anyone else wish to say anything? No. Okay. Now I'm going to take it in two stages then. So I think we've got unanimous, I think we've got an understanding that the signs would be a good idea. So based on the fact that there probably would be a cost, I presume we're talking of 3 figures, £100 plus. Kieran, and Nicola, can you remember what the signs were? Because the signs of the green were quite small, weren't they?
Yeah. So on the signs we put on the green are small. about that sort of size. But if we, and they were £28 plus VAT. So if we say they're going to be, well, they won't be any more than 35, I would have thought, to have something a little bit more impressive. And they'll need some kind of fixing. I've still got the pole that we bought last time, so we could use that. We could cut it in half and have 2 low signs.
Good. Excellent.
Is that the preferred option rather than going for the cheaper laminated paper on a stick?
Yes.
It is going to be. It's going to be a significant cost by the time we've got this post. Obviously, we're grateful for the free labour. It's going to be a significant cost that isn't actually on the agenda. So, are we in trouble by voting something that we haven't put as a spend? Nicola?
No, because it does say discuss and decide upon actions. It doesn't specify a spend.
Okay, so I mean, as long as it's a reasonable amount, we shouldn't be too much.
It will be coming out of reserves because there's no budget for it.
Yes. Okay. Are we happy to put a max on it? Say, and I think I'm okay. I'll just carry on for time a minute. I think if we can put a limit on it, say about £100, would that be acceptable? Are we getting? Oh, Ian, if you'd say more than that, my worry is that the signs could get taken away because they're on our verge, aren't they, Kieran? So
I think £100 is fine.
Okay. Well, let's put it as £100. I mean, one of the problems, of course, is that if we do get them made professionally, they may take longer than a laminate sign on a stick. So we are talking presumably a couple of weeks, I would have thought. So, I mean,
yeah,
bearing that in mind.
They were pretty quick last time, but they might not actually be working. So.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll tell you what, let's put a two-stage thing. If we'll ask Kieran to communicate with Nicola to get the order placed. If there's a problem, we'll go to the fallback and we'll have the laminate A4 on a stick as a temporary. Okay.
Yep.
Peter, can you
not put the temporary sign up straight away? The laminate on a piece of paper. Could we just not put that up straight away and then replace with the signs that Kieran is hopefully going to be able to procure for us?
Okay. Again, we need someone to actually do it. I mean,
anybody got a laminator?
No.
Well, I can do something.
Ian's got a laminator.
I can cover something in polythene. And
well, Ian's put his hand up here. He's been very quiet in the bottom left-hand corner for me. It's rather like having celebrity squares, isn't it?
Yeah.
Your age.
Ian,
I don't know whether it works, but the Parish Council owns a laminator.
Okay. Well, there's the fallback. There's the fallback. Okay, so based on the spend, we've got a temporary solution. Can I have a proposer that we have a temporary sign that's done by Kieran, laminated by Ian, stuck in a hole, and then we'll move on to at the same time we'll get some professional signs made. So that's a proposal. Kieran, you put your hand up. Can I have a unanimous vote on that? Are we all happy with that? Rob, you're being very quiet. Are you voting? You are voting. Brilliant. Okay, so that's stage one. Thank you very much. So if the three of you could communicate about that and obviously call in for help if there's a problem. The second point is Anne's suggestion that we tell CCC what we're going to do and then do it. So can I have a proposer for that one, please?
What do we mean by tell them what we're going to do?
Can I unmute myself? What I was meaning was tell them that we'll take some measure to improve the exit, I guess, of water from the ford, because I think that was one of Ian's suggestions last time, is to dig a bit of a groove or something, so that we take some measures ourselves to make the ford safer as a temporary measure or as an immediate measure, whilst we await the County Council ever getting around to redesigning it.
Okay. Rob, as an engineer, Rob, how do you feel about that?
I'm just wondering, I just worry that if we take on any responsibility for physical work, that they'll shirk their responsibility or it'll delay them doing anything. So while I'm not normally averse to a bit of DIY, I do wonder in this occasion if we should put the pressure back on them. I know we're in uncertain times, but actually it kind of does refocus some people's priorities, and there are other things that may not be happening that that perhaps were. So, you know, I think it might be worth first putting some pressure back on CDC. There's a lot of people falling off, you know. I was down there within the last 2 weeks, and you saw cyclists coming past, and no matter what them to slow down, they didn't. And, you know, I witnessed a couple of people falling off. So, you know, so I do think it's worth putting some pressure back on that. They've looked at this, they've had a year, nothing's happened. We're seeing more and more people have accidents. They're going to be liable for it unless they do something. What's their plan? You know, I think if we get nothing back, then I think, yeah, perhaps at that point we could do something. But my worry is if we just start digging and come out and it looks better, they'll stop.
Well, my worry,
and I think you've had your fair share on that for the time being. Heather, can I
Yes.
pull you in?
I'm just concerned that if we do work and somebody falls off because we've done the work, then we're putting ourselves in a worse position. I think we can write to the County Council and say, we're putting these signs up to warn people. We could also write in Spectrum or wherever that this belongs to County Council and that problems should be reported directly to them to make everybody aware where they should be directing all the issues. And then put lots and lots of pressure on them to do something about the road.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I mean, Anne, you want to come back on that one?
Yeah, well, just a couple of things. One, my concern with the County Council is they'll come back and say, we offered you these signs, but you just didn't like where we wanted to put them, so, you know, on your bike. I'm paraphrasing. And secondly, I just feel right now that putting pressure on the County Council wouldn't be my approach for sure. It would be asking the question and saying that we really need something doing. We understand the difficulties right now because of the coronavirus, etc. And we're willing to do stuff ourselves if you give us permission and your support to do it. So give them the option. Put pressure on them. I'm pretty certain nothing will happen, but I could be wrong.
Okay. Okay, Mr. Ian, you're being very quiet as the instigator of the grind up of the Ford campaign. Do you have any sort of further thoughts?
I wish I did. I think we were given the impression last year that any measures that we took would not get the approval of county, which was a real shame, because all that I was speaking of doing was creating a groove with a grinder, perhaps no deeper than 8 or 10 mil at the most, possibly even less than that, and grooves probably about, I don't know, 4 or 5 centimetres apart, just going across the road, and that would allow a little bit of drainage of the water below level, but it would also give some grip to any tyres, cycle tyres going over it. And that's all I was speaking of at the time, but he just dismissed it completely out of hand.
I'm getting a feeling that there's not much support for our own work on there. We also will have a vote to make sure that we're happy to put notes, as Heather suggested, in all the IT or all the local communications. So I forgot that in the first statement, but we can add a note to that we are going to inform local people. We've also got to consider about those who are travelling far and wouldn't have seen Spectrum. But I'm trying to think how to word this, but I think really my proposal would be is that we continue to put pressure on CCC, and that would not and that the Parish Council will not undertake any practical work on the Ford surface. Now, would I have a proposer for that?
Graham,
are you proposing? You're not.
Just before you do that, can we say to Cambridge County Council that we'll brush it, we'll take a stiff brush to it and have a good go at brushing the surface of the Ford? Because if it's algae built up, we could at least do that, couldn't we? I'm quite happy to take the broom yard down there and give it a go.
Again, but I can't really put that in as a proposal because it doesn't involve any cost or whatever. I mean, if we're happy to do that, that's great, and we maybe even, well, we can't really ask for volunteers this time. It would need to be a private individual. So Peter, if you're happy to do that, maybe even check with Ian whether he's got any magical things that he could do.
That's fine. I'll just go and put some elbow work into,
Indeed, but I think having worked in the playground, I think you might be in for a bit of a surprise as how bad it is, but it's a different surface, I agree. So that's the proposal. The proposal is that we continue to put pressure on CCC and that Parish Council will not be doing any practical work on the forward surface. Can I have a seconder for that, please? Peter seconding it. All in favour? Okay, Anne, are you against or abstaining? Oh.
Come back.
I said I'll abstain.
Okay, fair enough. That's fine. So that's 6-1. Thank you very much. And also, if I can have a proposal that we do advertise the problem within Spectrum and Facebook. Heather seconded me on that one. A proposer that we do go for that. All in favour? Are we all in favour, Rob? Yeah. Fine. Okay. Thank you very much.
Right. Just on that, are we going to state in that communication that we're not able to do anything? Because I think some of the parish perhaps think we're just doing nothing, as opposed to we're not physically able to do anything.
Yeah,
I think it'll be worth being clear that we've been told we can't do anything, and we're addressing it with the Cambridge County Council, who own.
Yeah. I mean, is that okay, Nicola?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, maybe you can on the recording we can check, but yes, we need to make sure that the clarity is whose fault it is.
Yeah.
Whose responsibility it is.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, okay. Fine, thank you much. Right, item point 6 is the councillor training, and this has effectively been changed. We were going to organise the training, and then somebody's realised that we could make a bit of money, and so it's been sort of changed a bit. So the proposal now is that as the organiser, we get 2 free places. So as you can tell from your supporting documents, if all 9 councillors went, it would only cost us £525 because we get the 2 free places. We would be organising at the village halls, so there would be a few more costs on top. Obviously the hourly rate for the village hall, and there's a requirement for tea and biscuits. So there's a number on top. We haven't been given a date for the training, but I think the point of this item is to be advised that the original system where we were going to run the training has changed, and therefore it's a question of whether we go ahead and ask CAPALC to organise the training at the village hall. Am I right, Nicola? Is that all you need from us, that we're happy for that to?
Yes, the only other alternative with regard to councillor training is that you attend one of the training courses that CAPALC offer, which are also at £75 per person, commonly over in Burwell, which is a bit of a step.
Yes.
But obviously you wouldn't get your free places then.
Yeah. Is there any problem with minimum numbers? I mean, for instance, if we said, yes, great idea, we're going to, because the chances of all 9 of us going, because it is an all-day session, the chance of all 9 of us being available is slim. So, I mean, is there a minimum number?
I didn't see a minimum number in that document.
Okay.
I can check.
Okay, so really, I don't know what we have to vote on, other than sort of it's a sort of a being aware that that's the way that things are going to be run. Do we need to take a vote on this, Nicola?
Yes, please, because it's a change to the previous resolution.
Okay, and do we have to vote on the spend?
Yes, please.
Okay, so the proposal is that CAPALC will organise the training. We will be the host effectively, and there could be a spend of up to £525. With the village hall on top, it will probably be over 600, which is a bit more than it was before. But I think realistically, the chances of all parish councillors being available will still bring it down to the 500 that we've allowed. So that's the proposal. Can I have a seconder for that mouthful? Any for a second? Ian's seconding it. All in favour? Have a show of hands. Brilliant. Thank you very much. Okay, item 21.7. This is a conference over in St Neots at Y Boston at £75 a head. It's been delayed and it's now in November. Does anyone wish to attend the conference? Oh, Nicola, are you happy to go on our behalf?
I went last year. I found it very informative.
Okay. So the proposal is then that we ask Nicola to attend the meeting on our behalf, and that will cost us £75. So I need a seconder for that. Anne is seconding?
No.
You're doing a show of hands.
Question.
We can hear you.
We can hear you.
Sorry. God, I have to reel myself back here. In terms of sorry, let me just get to the right bit. In terms of attending that on your own, Nick, assuming you're okay with that, can we also add in our proposal that you report back the key points that we all need to understand?
Yep, there's a nod. There's a nod there from Nicholas. That's
Thank
fine.
you.
So okay, that's the proposal.
Question: the spend, should that be £75
yes.
plus expenses?
Would you be claiming expense, Nicola?
Mileage?
I didn't claim mileage last time.
Okay. I mean, what sort of rate of mileage do you cover or require? It's
I think it's
20 miles, isn't it?
the standard 40. Is it still 40p a mile?
So there could be an additional 10 for that. So that's I don't think it would really affect. So I'll put it on there as the proposal is that it could be £85. But as Nicholas said, it was helpful last time. Anne's just put in a comment there that we will have feedback. So on that basis, it's a max of £85. Are you still happy to second, Peter? Were you seconding? You are seconding. Okay. All in favour? Can I have a show of hands?
Yeah.
Yeah. Fine. Thank you very much. That's your November sorted out, Nicola. Thank you much. Right. Item 21.8. This is the Capalc renewal. Again, it's all down to Nicola, isn't it? This is up for renewal at £377. Question to our clerk is: does Capalc give us good value for money? And because there was a talk about it going up, wasn't there? And it was disproportionate depending on the size of your council.
It has gone up slightly, and yeah, the proportion of the increase is weighted so that the larger councils have received the bigger increases. Yes, it's definitely valuable. Even if you want to look at it from a monetary point of view, any training courses are effectively half price as a member council.
Yeah, that's true. And also during this COVID-19 session, they have been sending us out all sorts of information, and they've been pretty helpful. So
I do use the help desk as well from Capalc, so I can just email them and ask them a question procedure-wise or law-wise and get a response.
Brilliant. So it saves us time flicking through books and things. So thank you. So the proposal is then that we have a spend of £377.02. Can I have a seconder for that, please? Oh, Heather, welcome. Yes, that's Heather's seconding. Are we all in favour? Show of hands. Oh, brilliant. Thank you very much. And then moving on, we have the data protection that we are. It's a strange one. We're required to have it.
Yes, right.
This is the cost. Anybody fancy a scrap? So yeah, there's not a lot we can do. So I'm going to have to require a seconder that we spend £40 looking after our data. Rob's question or seconding? Seconding. Okay. All in favour of the £40, which just is similar, is it? Yeah. All in favour. Okay. Yeah. Just as an aside, there is that similar to last year? Seems to be familiar. Nicola?
The same last year.
That's good. Okay. Thank you much. Right, 21.10, this is the internal audit, a request or requirement that we spend £200 on the internal audit. This is the one that is able accounts. It's done internally, it's done within the village, and they go, it's like a preliminary to the main one. Things have, I wouldn't say they've been delayed, but we've been given an extension to October? November. So normally it should be in by May or whatever. So we've had an extension because of the current situation. So what we need to do is to vote or I'll propose that we spend £200 on the internal audit, and I would need a seconder for that, please. Peter is seconding it. All in favour? Yeah, great. Thank you very much. So that's that. And presumably, Nicola, you can arrange that, can you? I mean, I don't know how social distance is. It all done electronically, or do you actually go around there with paper?
I have to physically print everything off and take it round.
And then it's got to stay for 3 days in someone's house. And okay, right. Well, thank you very much for that. Will that be done soon? Are you able to do that?
We're looking at the end of May, if I can pull all the data together.
Okay, thank you. Great, good. Okay then. Okay, so 2111. this is the accounts payable. I'm going to now call up. There'll probably be a little delay while I slickly call up the accounts. So at the end of the agenda, we have the accounts to be paid. So there's the normal JC Services, Ecotricity, the Clerk, Microsoft, Opus, Gapalk, ICO, and Zoom. Are we all happy with those? Are there any comments or confusions? No. Okay, Peter, are you seconding?
Quick one.
Yeah, far away.
Oh, sorry. The Gapalk, it's going up next year, is it? Because I just closed Dropbox by mistake. Wasn't it 427.02?
No, Peter, if I jump in there, 427 was also if you wanted to include the services office, which we have in the form of Nicola. She's happy to be the officer, so that's the option. 7 is just the capacity.
Okay, thank you for clearing that up.
So that's okay. That's fine. So if you've all had a chance to look at the accounts and you're happy, I'll ask for a seconder that they get signed off. Can I have a seconder that they're okay? Peter is seconding. All in favour we pay the accounts? Brilliant. Thank you very much. Well, I better vote as well, haven't I? Yes, okay. Thank you. Okay, right. That brings on the councillors' items. Anybody have got any items? Anne?
Yes, it's something I raised whenever recently. I just sort of thought that we normally meet in the village hall. We have planning meetings normally in the Methodist church. And I just wondered whether any of the rest of us felt that we should donate something, a proportion of what we would normally be paying them, just to show a bit of support for both institutions. Now, Nick has advised me that we are not allowed to give money to the church, is that right? Yeah. But do we want to give something to the village hall?
Okay, noted. Yeah, okay. Peter, did you put your hand up? Yeah, Peter.
I just want to make sure that we haven't forgotten this equalities thing that needs to be done by September. It's not
yeah, noted. Yeah, noted. Heather, did you put your hand up?
I didn't. No.
Okay. Ian?
No, thank you.
Rob? Kieran?
Just one small thing. I attended the Healthy Open Spaces online workshop, which is quite interesting. Coming up with ideas of how parish councils and local authorities can use their open spaces better and encourage people out there. So I've got a call tomorrow with this person who's been organising this, just to talk about Hilton's particular setup, and I'll come back with some more information later on.
Right. Thank you very much. That's good. Okay. So that's it. Just a personal note from me to our clerk and to Ian as he's there. Just about the volunteer scheme. We didn't sign up for this. The volunteers, it's all landed on Nicola's plate, I think, but it's been delegated to various people. So a lot more work. Daily we get cut from various places. So she takes it all in her stride and also organises the volunteers. So it's all working very well. So just thanks very much. And I didn't realise, Ian, you were involved. Oh, you're getting a round of applause. So yeah.
All right, there you go.
So that's good. And anybody else who's been involved with it, it's working very well. And hopefully we can draw a line under it soon. But that's personal thanks. So brilliant. Okay. Well, thanks for tonight's meeting. And next meeting is early in June, when hopefully we'll get some quotes for the insurance to pay for the next day.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you very much, then.
Thank you.
Graham.
Bye. Bye. Thank you.
You're getting used